The Mystic Meals Podcast.
The Mystic Meals Podcast.
With your host, Chef Nikki Meow. We talk about food, life. Oh, and we also talk about...
Oh, yeah!
Baby. You better be ready. Right now, here's your host, Chef Nikki Meow. Get it, baby.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another ridiculously tempting and tasty episode of the Mystic Meals Podcast with me. I'm your friendly neighborhood homegirl, Chef Nikki Meow, and on this episode, I have with me the novelist, author, and all-around maniac, Mr. James Schumacher. I've known him for a long time, and I am super excited to kind of hang out with him and hear everything that he has going on. And without further ado, we are going to bring him to the stage. Hold on, because I can't see to save my life. I can't see to save my life. Hold on. Hello. Hi.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Hello, sir.
God, it's been so many years.
I know. Like, when did we last do that?
A decade.
2016, huh?
That was when we launched Inheritance.
Bananas.
So,
and here we are, a decade later.
Holy hell. Where is time going?
I have no idea, but whatever, we're here.
Tell me it doesn't feel like it's speeding up.
It's insane. It goes by fast and slow at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
I heard someone say the day feels like forever and the year feels like it's gone in a day.
I know, because 2025 was like,
Yeah.
right? Like for me anyway, I was like, okay, here we go. Now it's February. So happy February to you.
Happy February to you.
Yes. And it's a full moon, so yay. I'm all about it. You already know.
Oh yeah.
Well, how have you been, sir?
It's been a fun time. It's been a fun decade. It's weird to say a decade, but it's been a fun decade.
I know. So much to catch up on. Where do we even begin?
That's the question. Like last time we were talking, you were doing another podcast, which was just as cool. This one's even cooler.
Thank you.
And now the cool thing is you've actually released your own novel. So it's kind of really cool there's like this almost like circulatory logic to this, where it's like we've met on a different plane. We met years ago. You were just a podcaster doing some cool stuff, and now you're doing exceptionally good.
I've evolved a bit.
You've evolved.
I've added some things to the repertoire over the past 10 years.
Well, it's always been there.
Yeah,
That's
it was.
The cool part.
It's true. I think when you are a creative person, I think a lot of the time you kind of lead with one thing because that's the thing that maybe affords you a certain way of life or, makes you the money, right? So that you can do the other things that you want to do. So that's kind of where it's at for me now. Yeah. And having published a book myself now, it's like it's opened a whole nother door of interest and meeting lots of new people in the book realm. So I'm very, very blessed and grateful to be a part of that now.
Well, that's that's what my novel Tannhauser is about. It's finding the things that we discarded years ago, like when we were choosing old ways of logic and old ways of thinking.
Yeah.
Stuff that we kind of thought we should be doing that should be making us fit into certain categories.
Yes.
And it usually takes grief or loss or something dramatic to kind of knock people out of that cycle.
It's true. It's very true.
And it's one of those. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just relating on what you're saying, because the majority of everything that I'm doing now stemmed from like some of the worst things that happened in my life. And it was my way of kind of working through that by continuing to just create and, work it out that way.
That's how it's like. I think that's the best artwork. That's the best work people do is when it comes from some sort of strife, some sort of discord, some sort of problem in your life that actually forces you to approach your whole life in a different aspect. Like
very different. Because it does change you, it really does.
Like my stuff, Inheritance, the comic where we met years
Yes.
ago, came from the death of my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always made the horrifying joke that after the death of my mother, my father's death wouldn't be as bad because I can kind of
Mm-hmm.
anticipate
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have never been more wrong in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It creatively knocked me through a loop.
Yeah.
Like I've never experienced anything like that.
Anything like that. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my wife would always tell me, she's like, you always had this ability to kind of withstand resistance. You can kind of push through any sort of obstacle, any sort of
Yeah.
problems people throw up in your way. But she's like, this is the first time I've ever seen it knock you flat on your back. And
Yeah. Yeah.
because
No,
it's,
I can relate. Absolutely. I mean, the death of my best friend in 2022 was the thing on top of everything else that was already going on
mhm,
personally. That was the thing that just knocked the wind out of my sails. Like literally, I just crashed, and I had, it gutted me in a way that I had never experienced before. And, we've all been through things.
oh,
Um, so yeah, that was, but that's also where I began to kind of reinvent myself in a way, and where the book for me began was
yeah.
within that process, because I needed something to do. I needed something to really snap me out of the madness and the depression that I was in. So yeah,
But
I
almost
can.
it becomes so much. Like I have a good friend of mine, he does book reviews,
Hmm.
and he works in the culinary industry.
Yeah.
And he says the same thing about culinary. It's like, because he has two sons that are autistic,
Hmm.
and he talks about that it's an extremely difficult thing to go through, to
Yeah.
experience, to see your children struggling. And he's like, you want to take over everything you can, but he's like, you have to let go.
Yeah.
And he says the
Yeah.
time he feels reprieve from it is when he's at work.
Yes.
And it's when
Yeah.
he hits this sort of flow state. Like writers, you know this now since you've done your awesome book, which is awesome. So people need to go out and
Thank you.
buy that. Um, is you hit a flow state. You hit a point where like it hits, the world goes quiet, and your
Yes.
whole vision dims to just the screen.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're in your element,
What?
absolutely, because you're the most yourself when you're
Mhm.
there. Like and especially like you said, when it's just flowing from you, and it's just a way that you could just channel everything and be zen about what's happening, and really kind of make more sense of all the other stuff
Mhm.
that may be chaotic in your life.
I always said
Um,
it's like a communal with God, or there's the old theory.
Force, universe,
Like,
whatever it
yeah,
is.
Rogan calls it the Akashic Records. It's
Yeah.
like this whole ethereal plane where all manner of information exists, and we're just antennas that occasionally tune into stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
talking about. Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin talks about that,
Yes.
where he's like, the idea comes to you. It is your job to manifest it. He's like, if you
Right.
do not do it in the time it's allotted to you, it will leave you. Someone else will pick it
Yes.
up. That's why
Yeah.
people say that, well, I had that idea years ago, except
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
manifest it, so it
Right.
shifted to the next capable receiver. It's one of the
Well, it
coolest
happens a
things.
lot in conversation too, especially like
Yes.
as a cook, when you're talking to other people, it's just you have so much already in your mind because you're already tapped into that part of you. So when you have ideas and when you're collabing with somebody in conversation, things just come out and flow. And maybe you're talking about that thing, and then they take the thing that you talked about and then make it a reality. They actually do something with it, and it's like you can't begrudge them for they had it, like it was within their hands to do, as it
Mhm.
would have been in mine, but I didn't do it. I just like, oh yeah, da, 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 talking about it, and then they go and do it, and then you're like, oh okay. All right then.
Like that was my idea. It's gone now. And you're like,
Well, you know what though, but I know that, you know what I mean. I
mhm.
I, I know where it stemmed from, so.
That's how I know I'm tuned into the right receiver, or tuned into the right conversation, however people want to put it, is when you start writing and you can't stop. Because it's
Yeah.
you're desperately trying to keep in front of this train laying
Yes.
tracks, as cliche as that
It's
sounds.
so difficult to know when to pump the brakes sometimes.
Oh, yeah, it's way
You know?
difficult. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been like I have permanent raccoon eyes just because I can't. It's just there's always something else coming in, and
Mhm.
you want to like get it there and put it there so you can work with it later, or whatever. And then there's the editing of it all, and that process of is it ever really done?
Well, that's when
Is
you,
it?
that's when you start gutting the baby almost.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
start actually dissecting it and seeing it because my mom was always brutal with my work when I was a kid. I
Mm,
wanted to write, and that's kind of what I wanted to write novels, and so she told me to write novels, and I was like, all right.
right.
So I'd write all these novels, and then she would hold up Goosebumps, which I got right over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I gave her my first little novella. It was like 110 pages or something,
Mm.
and she read it, and she's like, "Do you want the adult answer? Or do you want the kid answer?" I was like, "Is there a difference?"
Oh, yeah, exactly. What's the difference?
And
Yeah.
my mom is an upstate New Yorker, and she's like, there is a fucking difference. Because this woman would just swear no matter what, because all New
Yeah.
Yorkers
Yeah.
swear.
I can
And
relate. I
she
can
told
relate.
me, she's like, it sucks. And I'm like this
Wow.
little kid, I'm like, what? She's like, come over here,
How old were
grab
you
the
when that
goose
happened? How old were you?
12.
Okay. Okay.
So she's like, grab your book, grab the book that inspired this. And I was like, all right. And it was Goosebumps, and it was, I think, Werewolf of Fever Swamp.
Okay.
And because mine was about a cow skull that was flying around killing campers.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, compare pages. So I compare the flow, compare the tone, compare everything, compare
Right.
the syntax movement of the work. And I was like, all right. And then she gave me the greatest insight that I've ever had in my life. And it's been contentious with people I work with that want to just do the same stuff, that want to do homogenized crap.
Right.
Was that she's like, nothing, there are no rules. She's like, you can change everything. And I remember I think it was my third little novel after that. It was two aliens talking to each other, so I changed fonts between each. And she's
Right.
like, "That's cool." She's like, "That sets up stuff." She's like, "Maybe don't use Wingdings as the other font." She's like,
Wow.
maybe use a normal font that just
Yeah.
shifts
Yeah.
the change to it." But she would always tell me, she's like, "You can find so much within it." It goes back to
Yeah.
like I was talking to my buddy Matt, who was talking about earlier, because we're talking about what we have in Tannhauser, which is I have metaphors and allegories strung throughout it, and part of it is the meals in which they describe and eat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Matt was surprised. He's like, this is different, and he's like, it literally is the same egg meal cooked differently.
Right.
And if you go about it, just it's like, okay, the guy's just changing what he wants to eat. But if you go at it from an allegorical perspective, it's communicating to you exactly what the character's going through.
Right.
So you
Right.
could tell stories through food. And that's what
Yes.
you don't see. You don't see it a lot in a lot of like you don't see it a lot in films. You don't see a lot in books at all, except for yours. Yours is one of the first I've seen where it's actually takes food and makes it become part of the actual characters. Makes it
Right.
become this little story, this little girl going off on these cool mystical adventures through the country. And it's just really cool stuff. It's like stuff you haven't seen. And that's all comes from you not being able and willing to accept mediocrity. Is going, okay, no one's done this. I'm going to go beyond this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's my entire life experience.
Yeah.
It put into like the way my perspective, like how I view it and how I was able to navigate it, because I say this a lot, like, children, especially when it comes to food, like they make it work for them, become sentient, like everything's alive. It has a name and,
Mhm.
and watching my daughter engage with her food and, her foray into eating with different textures and how picky kids are anyway. And when you have an autistic kid, it's like on another level.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of challenges and things that, you wish would work. It's so simple, like, oh, just eat the mac and cheese. And it's just like, they can't because there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
But how I look at a kitchen environment and just, I don't know. I really, really wanted to convey that in the story as much as possible and to give things a different perspective. So thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate that very
Well,
much.
it's the manner in which we tell stories. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I have multiple close friends that are writers and stuff, and everyone has a different perspective.
Yes.
But I could never write what you write.
Right.
It's two completely different wheelhouses.
Yeah.
You're doing this awesome story about an awesome little girl doing cool stuff with the Muntry, and then I'm writing nihilistic, horrifying stuff about one guy suffering from severe depression.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just two different avenues of approaching any sort of stories. And that's the thing
Right.
that we see happening more and more every day is we see it definitely in novels. Like
Yeah.
you can walk into any Barnes and Noble and all the covers look the same.
Yes.
And you're just
Yes.
like, oh, okay. Every
Right.
story's been just regurgitated.
Yeah.
And you can kind
Yeah.
of see it somewhat in food, and it takes actual artisans to kind of create, like, I think it was someone said, I can't remember who said it. Someone said there's like only like 10 original storylines in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It all stems from genealogical like truths from years ago.
Right.
And it just takes people's perspective and their creative lens to tell it in a different way. And we're
Yeah.
starting to see the disintegration of that.
Right.
And we're
Right.
seeing people just going, okay, well, this thing fits this demographic in this market, and they're cutting off all the sharp edges. They're cutting
Right.
off all the, I mean, like one of my favorite examples of this, stop me if I'm running too long, is dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it. It has one of the ballsiest endings of
Yeah, I
anything.
know. I know. So like crazy, right? The way that
Well,
show ended.
so for the viewers at home, dinosaurs is this. It's weird because I talk to friends that are younger and they're what?
What are you talking
And I'm
about? I
like,
know.
what are
It's
you
hard, right?
talking about?
When you
I'm
make
like,
these pop culture references and like people don't get it, you're like, what?
what? It ends with the dinosaurs dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going into death. It's like the balls it took for that. They got the showrunner talked about it years later. He got resistance to the idea, and they're like, "You can't kill the dinosaurs." And he's like, "Well, it happened in real
But
life."
that's what happened.
And he's like,
That's
"That's
what
my."
happened.
He's like, "What do you want me to do?" He's like, "This is how it's going to have to be."
Right.
And,
Right.
I don't know. It's just awesome stuff to see people moving in different directions. Like,
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
couple friends of mine that are doing good stuff.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see the vast amount of comics doing the same thing.
I mean, I think it's just people are very stuck on what they think
Yes.
used to work
Yes.
and what did work for a long time, but it no longer applies. The landscape everywhere has changed. Everywhere. My
Mhm.
industry, different thing. I mean, like it's been turned on a dime, and I think people are really scrambling to try to figure it out. And I think, as you touched on, the best thing that you can do is really write from you, from your perspective, your lens, because that's the most unique thing. Like you're the only person that could tell that story the way it's supposed to be told, you know?
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite things I remember from years ago when we first did the podcast was you and I were talking, and one of the things that we both kind of clicked at the same time was people ask permission to create a lot.
To create. Yeah.
They ask society, they ask their friends, they ask their like fellow writers, can I have permission? It's like, stop asking permission, stop
Yeah.
seeking
Yeah.
approval from what people were doing. But like with,
Right.
I've run into that on films and like my last comic series, and I vowed I was like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm
Yeah.
not going to have to like shackle someone to the concept of that. Just because standard readers read left to right in a Z fashion doesn't mean we have to continuously do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Exactly.
means we
I
can
mean,
replace. Sorry.
it's the best thing to do, because if I had really thought too much about it, about the things that I've done, I wouldn't have done them. You know, because I wasn't thinking about anybody else when I started doing it. You know what I mean? Like it really was kind of like, oh, that would be fun. And then that's where it began. It's just me wanting to like work something out and see if I could do it and push myself to finish it, to finish what I started and set out to do. And then everything else kind of came way after the fact. It wasn't until like things were getting finished. And then, because I didn't say anything to anyone about the book at all until I was like, oh, hey, guess what? And I kind of like being that way. Yeah, surprise.
Surprise.
You didn't know I could do that too. But no, I mean, I had always kind of dabbled in writing. Like I'd have some articles like published and, you know, interviews and stuff like that. But I had never really dedicated myself to writing a book, let alone a children's book, in a way that could be framed with the type of reading that I grew up with. You know, I think the farthest I thought about it was that I wanted, you know, children and adults to be able to pick it up and read it and enjoy it and have it not be too much, because I knew I wanted it to be a series. So again, kind of knowing when to kind of pump the brakes and be like, okay, you're good. You're good on that.
What's like when we I did a comic convention on what we did the prologue on, and I remember getting resistance because I wanted to do a section where it was like the hands on a set of steps.
Right.
And it was just resistance after resistance after resistance. I was like, okay, it's going to work. Just trust me.
Yeah.
And inevitably, when we hit the comic circuits, that is literally the point where money exchange hands. Because you always have at conventions table readers.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is insane. This is working. I'm like, okay, so you learn to trust yourself, and then when I came out of this fog, because it was 2017
Yeah.
when my father passed away, that literally was like a bomb detonating, and
Yeah.
it just destroyed everything in my life. Like, and it just came from the aspect of how it came about.
Yeah.
That sent me into this giant spiral, and I couldn't move, and I found myself living in another person's life yet again. And I remember I woke up and it's like 3 a.m. and I was like, okay. And I got drawn to this office here. I was like, all right. And I remember my mother's cassette recorder where she recorded all of her notes for her books
Hmm.
because she loved Rod Serling, and she's like, I'm going to do what he did, which is record all of his. He would record
Right.
all of his stuff on a dictaphone. So
Right.
I pulled this out and I started recording these little thoughts about why I'm waking up at certain times, and it began this whole process of waking me up, and I slowly began to sit up. And I
Hmm.
remember I called them sabbaticals. My wife calls them really long ass walks because I would do like 6 to 7 mile walks,
Uh-huh. Yeah, those,
and
yeah.
it was like this giant. She came on a couple of me. She's like, "Oh my god, my feet!"
I'll get in the
And
car and pick you up where you are. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember the day that this idea came back to me. It just out of nowhere, just for this thunderstorm hit, and you
Mm.
could literally hear where we live. You can see the wall of water coming at you, and it just hit me. I was like, "Oh!" So I'm walking in the middle of nowhere, walk out in the middle of the street where I'm at, and I'm
Hmm.
like, "Okay," and then boom, this idea sparks, and it came from a story I was incapable of writing when I was 18. This
Mm.
note that I wrote down of this guy suffering from depression. Um, and it began to just unfurl in front of me. And I got
Right.
home and I told my wife, I was like, this idea's come back in. And she said, okay, we'll go write it out. And over the next year, I proceeded to write 600 pages, 120,000 words
Hmm.
for its first draft. And I was like,
Right.
okay.
Right.
So then the next draft, and so she opens it. And years ago, I did film, as you know, some other
Yeah.
people probably don't know. Um, she looked at this book, read it front to back, and just kind of looked at me. I was like, why were you ever trying to do film? She's like, this is insanely good. She's like, out of all the stuff you've ever done, she's like, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
And it goes back to that old conversation I had with my mom right before she passed away, where she's like, hey, don't quit writing, no matter what. So if it's
Yeah.
going to get hard, you're going to lose a lot, but don't quit writing. I was like, all right. And so then the second draft began, and that one doubled in size.
Yeah.
And it just becomes this giant beast of,
Yeah.
and I'm ripping this off. Someone described Karl Ove Knausgaard's work, and he's an insane writer. He's
Hmm.
amazing. He wrote his whole life story over like 8,000 pages. Someone described it as a monument to male shame because he was unflinching in how he categorized himself. And
Hmm.
you read it and you're just like, oh,
Right.
and that's what I wanted to do. Like you were saying with Muntree, but it goes back to the truth of your life. Every
Yeah.
author should be writing from a truth perspective. And I
Yeah.
hate the
I mean,
term.
it's hard to not for me, like,
uh,
and again, without thinking about how it was going to be received by anybody else, like I couldn't think about all of that. It wasn't even there. I just was, as with you, like it came to you and it just came pouring out, and then before you knew it, I had like literally 3 to 4 books worth of stuff in front of me that I couldn't even tell you where all
that's
that came from
awesome.
either. So, I can definitely understand like where, like all of a sudden, like I couldn't even really tell you what the trigger for that was other than the depression that I was in. Like
Mhm.
something just kept telling me like, girl, you got to snap out of this. You got to you need to do something. And
Yeah.
then it was just like I had written these books when she was younger, when she was around 3 or 4, and they were more geared towards kids her age. And just came back to me like the books, like you need to write, you need to write, you need to write. And I went back to the drawing board with it. I took the greatest hits from each one and completely started over from scratch and wrote it from where I was, and that was the best thing that I could have done.
So that's awesome. I
Yeah.
can. It's sad. As sad as it is, I can recall I mean, minus the progenitor moment, the inception period when I was a kid, I can tell you exactly. This is one of the first times, minus inheritance, I can tell you exactly where it comes from.
Hmm.
Like, like we moved here in 2017. Like before my mother passed away, we can kind of feel something's coming. Like we
Yeah.
know something's coming.
Yeah.
And I moved to this place, and I started to feel something's coming. And then we get the call, and it was my dad's caretakers. There were two lovely Mormon missionary ladies that were over there that would take care of him.
Hmm.
And they said, "Hey, is this James Schumacher?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, your dad can't speak right now.
Hmm.
He's shaking." So I'm like, "Okay, just hang up the phone, call 911, please." So he ends up in the ICU room, and we find out. I get the call like an hour and a half later from the ICU doctor telling me to get to Reno as fast as I could.
Wow.
And I don't like, I drove the whole way, and my wife Zara can tell we made it there without any problem. I don't remember
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
black.
A blur.
It's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we get there, and I was my father's caretaker for so many years. And doctor comes in. My dad can barely talk. He's shaking, his head's shaking, and we find out his entire system has gone septic.
Mm.
And literally, he is dying. And he can barely talk, but he can see me. And oh fuck. The doctor tells me, he's like, "Hey, he's not going to make it tonight." And I'm like, "Okay." I've got my family around me. I've got my wife next to me.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my dad, and my dad's staring at me. He's got that look in his face that anyone that's gone through a sort of caretaker thing is, they can
Yeah.
kind of see when two people
You
are
know.
communicating.
You
And
know. Yeah.
you know. And doctor comes back later, and I sat there, and comes back later and hands me the clipboard. And I'm sitting there with a clipboard while my father's watching me, signing his life away.
Right.
And if I'm scared of anything in my life, I'm scared to die because I have no idea if that's going to be held against me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I signed his life away, and went over and held his hand, and he never told me I love you, never told me I'm going to miss you, never told me I'll check in on you, told me just one word, go. And we left, and my wife was like, we're all trying to eat dinner, none of us could eat dinner, and my wife's like, "Hey, I'm getting the feeling we need to go back." And then I started getting the feeling, so we all went back, and
Right.
he was completely, they removed him off all the stuff. But that one word haunts me still. It's just like, I have, Zara can tell you about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have routine night terrors. I will wake up in the middle of the night jumping out of bed.
Okay.
And that on that day when I was walking on that street, I'm walking back home, and I'm wet as a dog. Go pops back into my head. And I can see my dad saying go. And I began to sort of start to interpret one word as opposed to just go, leave me alone, from to two different perspectives, which is he
Yes.
didn't want his kids to watch him die.
Right.
And the other one was I had spent almost 15 years being a caretaker for him and my mother.
Mm-hmm.
But that guilt that leveled me, knocked me to the ground, and kept me there is what sparked
Inheritance. Yeah.
Tannhauser, sorry.
Tannhauser,
Sparked
yeah.
Tannhauser.
Yeah.
And Tannhauser just flows from this whole thing. And it's the notion of, you've seen it, because I'm assuming you've seen it,
Yes. Yes.
where loss and grief destroys identity.
Yeah. It does.
Everything you did before that no longer applies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because now
Including
you're a different person.
who you are and who you were.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It also just
Yeah.
like, that's the thing. Like, it drove me back to realizing all the stuff from my father's, because my father and I, as all sons and dads have, had like a contemptuous relationship where we would
Mhm.
argue. Like, I never saw him most of my life because of his work schedule,
Sure.
and then he would abuse me, particularly, not to the horrifying levels, but I didn't
Enough.
talk to him
Yeah.
enough that I talked to my mother, and she's like, "Hey, you need to talk to your dad."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why? And so she began to explain stuff, which I won't talk about. But
Right, right,
I began to rebuild this relationship with them, knowing that sometimes the villain is often the victim, and they
right.
just don't know how to channel their own pain.
Sure,
I was
sure.
like, well, I'm going to channel this pain into this mammoth book and do something that I should have been doing because I wanted to be the guy that I wanted to be a novelist when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad had a little 35 millimeter camera, and I took it out with him one time. And I took a couple pictures with him. And he told me, he's like, hey, this is one of the first things I remember him telling me that was positive.
Mm.
Was like, hey, you got a good eye, kid. And he's like, you could do film. And I was like, okay, you know what? My dad's saying I could do this. Somebody go do
Right,
this.
right.
And I began to erase the gifts that I had for years
Mm-hmm.
that I was building and doing. And I was like, all right. And
Right.
then it took his death to kind of eradicate that notion,
Yeah.
to kind of go, I don't have to be that guy. I can be this person, that little kid,
Right.
and return to that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
you can see it in almost every fashion of Tannhauser. You can see
Yeah.
it in every notion. Like I tell Sarah all the time, like I'm returning to my mom telling me you don't have to ask permission, and holding that as the only thing that I'm going forward. Like when we have book editors we're talking with, I have calligraphers working, and I don't ask them permission.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to my editor, I'm like, okay, well, this is what we're doing here. Don't give a shit.
Right.
She's
Right.
like, actually, I don't care. It's not my job to tell you how to do your stuff.
Right.
She's like, my job to point out the plot holes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's what
Exactly.
my mom had this funny saying. She's like, it's like a block of cheese. So you hold this cheese up in front of your face. So it looks delicious. And she's like, it looks like it's whole. And you turn it to the side and there's holes boring clean through it, or bored
Right.
clear through it. And you're like, okay, now
Yeah.
maybe that's what you should do. That's
Yeah.
why the plus side of like getting perspectives of the actual work itself, and people
Yeah.
that you can kind of go that aren't going to sit there and try to enforce their belief systems on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, no one's done this before.
Yeah.
Because so much of Tannhauser hasn't been done before to the extent we're doing it. I mean,
Right.
you've got your outliers, like one of my favorite authors, Mark Z. Danielewski. He's the guy that did House of Leaves, which is the most famous form of ergodic literature that
Mm-hmm.
is like multiple narratives just stacked on top of each other. And you turn this book in your hand and you begin to go psychotic alongside with his
Yeah.
main character. And I'm like, well, okay, well, he's done it.
Right.
So it tells me I'm not entirely insane. Because you see so much, you run into it. We see
Yeah,
it.
you
You've
do.
probably
You
seen
do.
it. You've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
it in culinary work. You've seen it in novels where it's just like the wall of public denouncement. People are, oh, we don't do it that way. You can't do it that way. You can't put out books like that.
Well, because people, I think, speak to you from where they are, and
That's a good point, actually.
what you're doing oftentimes goes against everything that they believe that they can and can't do.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're doing something so outside of the box of the norm is just hard for people to wrap their head around.
Mhm.
So, that's why, again, going back to like not saying anything, not asking permission, not letting people
Mhm.
know, it's just because that's what happens. It's like people like, oh, you can't do that. What are you doing that for? That sounds weird. I don't know. That's the stuff that you really need to not pay attention to, because
Go ahead.
maybe it's hard for you to do that kind of stuff, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like that stuff kind of comes naturally for me. So now, like, as you said, trusting yourself, believing in yourself,
Mhm.
and knowing, like, you just know now, like, it's going to work, like, even if it doesn't become this big grand thing, like you
Mhm.
know already,
Yeah.
like you can, the vision is already there. So
Well, it's like you have to be not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Like we could have done, like I did all these films and I would meet resistance and I would still just push through the resistance and we
Yeah.
would get nominated for awards. Multiple
Right.
scripts I wrote were award winning and all this kind of cool stuff. And
yeah,
you just reach a certain point where you're like, okay, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Like
yeah,
I was talking to the guy that does that's doing my printing about what I'm planning on doing, which at the time was I don't see it done, which is an entire behind the scenes process of the book to include
yeah,
commentaries, mini documentaries, like whole essays on just stuff that the book's about.
yeah,
And he's
yeah.
like, he's like, well, the documentary thing is like can actually use the filmmaking experience you've had. He's like,
Hmm.
that's something. He's like, I've not really seen that. He's like,
Right.
so don't ask, just go do it. So that's what we
Yeah.
started to do. Started to
Right.
catalog all this stuff. Like I have
Right.
so much. You know this, especially as an author. You have so many notes. Like my
Yeah.
phone is filled
It's
with
insane.
pages.
It's ridiculous the amount of stuff. Like at one point I was really like getting overwhelmed at like where everything was. I had a book
Mm.
here, I had stuff in my phone, I had a journal there. I just was like, okay, somehow this all needs to come together
See,
and make
I have
sense.
I have notes I recorded on my phone. I have
Hmm.
cassettes I recorded from those
Yeah.
early days.
Yeah.
Just kind of talking to myself of like
Right.
how this whole thing managed to come to me and how it
Yeah.
managed to evolve to the point now where we're pushing towards a release in 2027.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a massive undertaking. And it's like, well, this is what, as my mom would say, in her curt upstate New York fashion, she's like, hey, dumbass, this is what you asked for.
Right. That's what I tell myself all the time. It's like, well, this is what you fucking wanted.
Yeah.
This is what you did, like this is the gig,
But
without really thinking about it.
no,
Too
no, it's
much,
like
you
we
know?
were talking earlier about the Munchery, how you've launched a line of spices that go
Right.
along with the book itself,
Yeah.
which is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Because I mean, I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gary Vee. Some people
Yeah. Oh,
have.
yeah. He's great. He's
He
great.
talks about where he's like, the next demographics people need to push into is merchandising. It's not just do it. Oh, I did a book or I
Yeah.
printed it here and you should buy
Right.
my book. It's okay. Here's the book and then here's more. And then stuff that connects to the world itself because you're going to get
Yeah.
kids that read the story and they can read the base book without the spices and then find out that there are spices that exist.
Yeah.
So there's kids that'll go to their parents and go, "Hey, this happens." I did it all the time with my mom. I was like, "Hey, there's this
Hmm.
book, then it has this."
Right.
That's the stuff
Right.
that is sorely missing because everyone's doing the banal shit. They're doing the
Yeah.
basic and
Yeah.
then expecting people to pay you $25 a book.
Right.
And you
Right.
see, we've seen giant books where it's like you're asking, or not giant books, sorry, small books. You're asking for $30 for 100 pages. We've seen
Hmm.
it at conventions. I saw it back in the day doing Comic Cons, where you would see the world's worst comic books. People trying to charge $20
Yeah.
for like 30 pages,
Right.
and you're like, what? Like that's the Gary Vee thing, where it's like you got to create more. Like we're doing stuff like that with Tannhauser, which we're not
Right.
announcing till it comes out, and it's doing stuff that people haven't really seen. It's
Right.
doing again. It
But
just goes back
that's
to
the point. It's just, I had an author on the show last time, and it one of the things that we discussed was how you, like, what was the motivating factor for you to create what you did. And it was like, she wanted to see what she couldn't see out in the world. Like she wanted a book that her children could read, that they could relate to, and that lots of children could relate to. You have to create the thing that you want to see in the world. It's like being the person that you want to be, being the example, and really just not really giving two shits where, you know what I mean? Like, again,
yeah,
like not really thinking about it too much. Like I didn't think about it, but it made sense to me for the book. I'm like, well, I already sell spices. I think that would be really fun to tie that into the book and just have it be a little bit different. But again, none of that was in my thought process at all until it became what it was, until it was
yeah.
published and it was out there. And then the afterthought of like, oh, well, that might be fun and that could be cool. And, again, not running it by anybody. It's like, I don't have like this team of people, like it's just me. So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens,
What's the like? Like everyone, like because I have a couple friends that ask the similar questions of what inspired it or what
Yeah.
motivated you to do it.
Right.
And inevitably, I have what I've described earlier, but in the early stages of it, it was finding a reason to stay.
Yeah.
Because I see so many, we see it right now. There are so many men that are struggling with mental health, and
Yes.
so many people just say it's done.
Yeah.
And I don't like saying it, but I hit that point
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
that depression where I was looking for any reason to stay. And my
Right.
wife's sitting there staring at me, and she's like, "Oh my God." And it finally just came out one day.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
here's the reason to stay. And it's went from just being, okay, it's this exploring my own life to went from saying a reason to stay to now exploring my life and using that to communicate with people, because the comic book I did before, we had people lining up at the convention booths, sitting there, asking, talking, because it was all based on the death of my mother and the
Right.
moments before her death. And so people gravitated towards that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
gravitate towards something they could see in themselves. And right now in fiction, there's not a lot of male fiction. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of unfiltered or very blunt stuff directed towards
Unabashed.
men.
Yeah.
Yeah, unabashed is
Yeah.
a better word.
Yeah.
Um, and just like it's the same thing for the Munchies, there's not a lot of that going on. And now you're pushing that, I'm pushing this, and it's just kind of
Yeah.
this cool notion to see people connect. And that's the one thing I'm like, one of my friends that actually did read the book, who's a man, and he's like, okay, he's like, he's like, I understand every bit of this without having to go into
Yeah.
detail on it.
Right.
He's like,
Right.
I've felt it. He's like, I didn't feel it in this certain parameters, but he's like, I've felt this. I've been
Yeah.
there. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's the cool thing about doing this Substack, is beginning to meet people that are also in the same boat and that are
Yes.
doing their own same thing. And it's okay.
Yeah.
This is insanely cool.
You know, because there are a lot of people out there that are like motivational and inspire people, but I think it's still important to relate that experience, because especially when it comes to grief and the process of the before, during, and after of it, like we're not taught how to grieve and also how to grieve ourselves, you know, the person that we had to let go of, how we identified with the people that we love in our life, and the things we went through with them and how they shaped us, and having to go on, you know, get back to your core as a person and then continue on and honor them as much as yourself at the same time.
Oh yeah, like you said it best. No one's ever taught how to grieve. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, you'll figure it out. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like I said naively earlier, where I said that I thought my dad's death would be easier because I had had a false understanding that it happened in the same
went
manner.
through that, and now this would be but
And now this is just this was worse. But out of the worst stuff in life tends to come the greatest moments. It's the greatest, like the U-shaped arc of a story where like everyone's gone through it, where they have a high and then something just kicks them right in the dick, knocks them to the ground, and then they either stay there the rest of their life or they start to climb back up.
Right.
And they begin to connect to people. That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most about the convention circuits, is getting the book into people's hands and then seeing what people think, is talking to people, because so many people don't talk. That's the I hate about social media, is it's just an argument platform. No one's really talking. It's just like,
I mean, if again, I think that's why it's important for people like us to have these conversations, to just talk and kick it, and like, you know, say what's going on with us and how we feel about the things that we're passionate about, and, you know, have it not be so, you know, but I do feel like the climate is changing once again. I think people are really, really searching for something real, something tangible, something beyond all of the hyperbole of the noise that exists in the world and in our own mind, you know?
It's shifting. You're starting to see people kind of tune out of the noise.
Yeah.
And you're seeing people kind of retreat. And that's the thing that I like about novels the most, is a very solitary experience.
Yeah.
Like I can't read a book without headphones in, just blasting either white noise. Or like not trance music, but ambience.
Sure.
Because it tunes out. Like I am more than likely probably undiagnosed autistic and ADD. Highly, because I struggle.
I say that all the time, that I am hideously undiagnosed, and I probably need a plethora of medications.
It's like, oh my God, so I have to focus on it, and that's the only way I can turn off the noise in my head. The other way to turn off the noise in my head is my wife rubbing my head. That's the only time where everything just goes, it goes quiet.
Right.
And the books itself, especially if they're well written, especially if like your stuff, it pulls you right into it. It literally paints the picture itself. It like, because we've all experienced it, where you read a book and you're just like, no. Yeah. It's just written either terribly or it's just the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, that's why I don't like watching movies that are based on books if I haven't read the book.
If I haven't read the book first. Yeah, I know.
It's like, because I read the Lord of the Rings first, but then I watched the movies, and I can't not read the book and go, oh look, it's Viggo Mortensen in my head. Like, it loses
Well, they
out
took their liberties, didn't they? Yeah.
It's like, dang it, it loses the the ability for the imagination.
I know.
And that's like, that's why I'm cool that I'm cool. Jesus, that's why it's cool that don't, fuck.
It's okay. We all get
I'm cool,
kids.
kids. I swear I'm cool. It's
so
cool,
you know.
It's cool that you're
I'm
doing
the coolest thing since sliced bread, baby. I'm here to tell you.
Look at me, guys. I'm cool. That is on my obituary one day. It's gonna be cringe. God, and I know my wife's gonna cut that into a TikTok. It's just, I'm cool, guys.
We're leaving this in. I'm not editing.
I'm cool. Go to this. I'm cool. Go to my Substack. Fuck.
Exactly.
This is why I missed you. This is why you're awesome. Because it's just, like, where do we go now? Fuck.
I don't know. But we'll make our way there. We'll be there hand in hand.
It's cool seeing. See, I said it right this time. It's cool seeing someone like you not using, it's a terrible word, but harnessing the experience. Jesus, stop it. Fuck.
It's spiraling. This is what happens.
Dude, there's so many people that are going to go.
We spiral together.
This fucking bloke is saying that it's okay to harness and use fucking autistic kids. Like, it's not. I'm just saying. It's just
oh my
so
God.
fucking experience. Because to go back to that, Jesus, is there's a lot of people that have kids with autism, and that literally circumnavigates the bridge or the blockage that many people have to new work. Because it's like, okay, this is something I have. Maybe I could talk with my kids about this and stuff.
Right.
But when I told Matt about your book, he's like, oh, that's insanely cool. He's like, that's awesome. He's like, to be using that. And then with Tannhauser, we're connecting and circumnavigating around every man's resistance wall of not communicating to people.
Right.
I mean, it's not so much we're taught. It's just that it's just easier not to talk.
Well, I think it's a combination, though. No, I mean, it's kind of like, as a man, you're kind of taught to be a man and not to really lean into certain areas of vulnerability. And
well, I think, like, if you want my opinion, this is just my opinion, is men is bred into us, and it's going to be vulgar, is to fuck, maim, kill, crush, destroy, and oppress.
Conquer.
It literally is just built. We're built to destroy, no matter what.
Right.
And it's just, and we're built to lead. We're built to do all this sort of stuff. And you get modern, weird, like, interpretations of everything. It's this weird sort of thing. But it's also put in there that it's like you were saying, it's societal. Is almost indicates that. Like I've worked with some people that are like, they're just like, I can't say shit. They'd rather just die than not talk about certain things. And it's just the stuff they built in. Because most of the time when men openly talk about, this is the uncomfortable thing about this, is openly talking about, like, depression, you're looked at down by some men.
Right.
Some men look at you and go, okay, well, who's this weak beta fuck?
Right, the weakness, yeah.
It's like, it's not weakness.
Attach
It's
weakness
saying,
to it when it's
me
not
going,
at
this
all.
is the only way I have. Like, some guys go out and shoot, some guys hunt, some guys ride motorcycles, some guys do all this other stuff. I'm the thespian writer. It's what's built and ingrained into my DNA. It's just been there since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And this book manifests from all that.
Yeah.
And there's other guys I know out there that have that dream. And we've all run into it where people, like, you make the mistake of telling people, the wrong people,
right,
oh, this is what I want to do. Like, I have two teachers I remember from high school. One was named Jeff Janke, who was awesome. Out of all the teachers in all my years, he was the guy that only mattered. Everyone else was shit. Because I told him, I was like, hey, I'm writing novels and stuff. And he would give assignments because I was in his advanced placement English myths and monsters. And he's like, I'm like, hey, I want to write this as a chapter in a novel instead of a paper. He's like, all right, write it. But then I had equally another advanced placement English teacher who was an absolute moron, who was brutal to people, kids he didn't like. I'm like, dude, seriously?
Right.
Like, he proclaimed from the towers that I was going to fail. Didn't like me at all.
Yeah,
my dad got involved at one point.
You can do that now.
That's Yeah. That's just the funny stuff. You see people do this stuff, and you're just like, I even doing film, I ran into just resistance, and I should have known at that point. The universe going, dude, you're doing the wrong shit.
Right.
I shot a film back when I was 21, and I worked at a television station, and I sent it to the reviewer guy from a local newspaper. Unbeknownst to me, the editor in there, who was in his 40s, I think he was in his 40s, shot another film and got a lower rating from that reviewer. So instead of just going, okay, cool, okay, I see your film, he told me go fuck yourself, and then wrote a letter to the journalist guy, the booker, the film reviewer, and that guy comes to me at the station because we record his reviews, and he's like, just so you know, that guy emailed me. Like, holy shit!
You're like, wow, okay.
And it's just the resistance we all run into. I just caution younger people, don't pay attention to the resistance and do exactly what you should have been doing your entire life.
Just do what you want to do. Just do it. Just do what you want to do. And that's kind of the train that I'm on now with everybody. I'm just like, just do the thing. Just do it. And, there's no like gatekeeping or anything like that. And I feel like if you're in the position to encourage somebody else, uplift somebody else, because we're all going through so much, and it's people like you that keep me inspired to keep doing what I'm doing.
Awesome.
And that's how I take it. Like I look at what someone else is doing creatively in any sense, and I'm just like, wow, that's so cool that resides in you.
Well,
it's amazing to see what people are capable of.
Who was the actor in Freddy Got Fingered?
Oh God.
Daddy, would you like some sausage? I can't remember his name. He did the first official kind of like, and I say this air quotes because I'm going to get crucified for it if I'm wrong. The first official like podcast stuff, like long form podcast. And one of the guys he had on was Joe Rogan. And Rogan's sitting there, there's a video of it where Rogan's like sitting there with him, he's like, you can just do this and just talk to people.
Right.
And Rogan took that as inspiration, was like, noted. I'm gonna go do this.
Like I'll be right back. Yeah.
You have to be able to like spark the interest in people. I had one of a young kid I work with. Not young, he's like 31, so he'll kill me when he reads this. Hi, Max. One of the smartest kids I've ever worked with. He's like, I joke because I've been reading his novels that he's been writing. Which leads me to say, you better be writing, moron. Telling me he's always like, oh, I didn't write to this, moron.
Yeah.
Where his
I wonder where you got that from.
Yeah. He's like, I better not see my shit in your book. I'm like, why do I need a whole? Because he has this whole world he's been building since he was a kid. And it's this most violent, vile shit. And it's cool as fuck. It's like, and I don't like Quentin Tarantino because of what he said with Paul Dano and cutting him off for no reason other than he could. But it literally is like Kill Bill, but on like massive levels. And so you have all these massive pages of violence and vulgarity, and then it just grounds to a halt.
Right.
And you get the backstories of these characters, and you're like, oh, that's cool as shit. I'm like, dude, I haven't really seen that. I mean, it almost functions as like a flashback or flash forward. It stops the actual process of the book, because he's one of the guys that's kind of seen some of the stuff from my book, and he's like, oh my God. Because my book is one of those, or Tannhauser, is one of those stories that evolves.
Right.
Where it has multiple stories layered into it, and its perspective shifts the whole time.
Right.
And it goes from being about this guy suffering from the death of his daughter and suffering from the extreme guilt that brings to people, to this grand cataclysm that's happening around him, and the whole world's doing what it does best. And it's just, it ebbs and flows, and it hits you where it's like, it grinds the reader to a halt. And it's going to put off some people. Some people are going to see just wall to wall, margin to margin text. Yeah. And you're going to go, what? I have to read this. Like, we just read that book right there, Tom's Crossing. Again, by my favorite author, Mark Danielewski. Where it's just wall to wall text, and it's the story of like two little kids riding up on stealing horses from a horrible guy, and then riding them up the mountains that are literally up that wall. And it's just brutal. It's just, and some people get thrown right off of it, Like
Yeah.
Moby Dick. Like everyone gets. I love Moby Dick. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite books
Yeah.
that I've written. But it's like you hit the fucking point where it's just chapter after chapter of whale facts, and you're like, okay, dude, please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop with
Yeah.
the
You're
whale
like, I
facts. I'm
get
done.
it. Yeah.
I'm done. It's like you go. It's like you doing the munchery, and then a whole chapter is like how you make basil, and
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
breaks it down completely,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay. I get that's a mortar and a pestle, but do we
Right.
got to
Right.
describe the exact dimensions of the fucking?
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard because you want people to stick with you. You want them to understand what it is you're trying to convey.
Mhm.
And that's I think where I really kind of leaned into my other author friends when I sent them the draft of the story and really wanted their honest, like straight up opinion. And I'm like, oh my God, girl, this is great. Like, okay, no, tell me how you felt about reading it and what was it that you think I should do more of? Should I take this out? Like, because those I valued that very much, and it was very, very helpful for me to kind of maybe explain certain things, maybe up the stakes for her, the character, a
Mhm.
little bit, and then the pacing of everything. So I mean, but there are reasons why. I mean, again, like for me, like I wax poetic anyway, so catching myself in those moments of like, okay, they don't need to know all of that. You could really whittle that down and put that in the next one or like whatever. But still, but by the time you get to the money shot of it, then it all, now you really get it though, because it's been laid out for you. You understand the perspective, right?
Oh yeah, like with Tannhauser, when Max was reading a bunch of it, he's like, "This is in depth." He's like,
Yeah,
"This is like
intense.
just." He's like, "This is just brutally long." I'm like, and he's like, "What?" And
You're like,
he's
thank
like,
you.
and he's saying, he's like, "It's not in a bad way." He's like, "I'm just not used because I
Yeah.
where I work." He's like, "What?" It's like, out of all the people here, this tattooed dude that's an asshole is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this writer guy that can punch out like because he calls me I'm Agatha Christie. He's like,
Okay.
what? Why you call me Agatha Christie? Like, can't we call me like something cool? And he's like, no. I'm like, fuck.
No, we're
And
not.
I wholesale dedicated myself to this novel, to it being exactly like your head during grief and guilt,
Yeah.
which is this fucking rototype. Just it's this
It's
constant
insane.
stream of
Yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah.
And the book is told in an ergodic and an epistolary, I can never pronounce that word, and I'm almost like a monograph
Mm-hmm.
where it's just one dude, just it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
stream of
Yeah.
consciousnness.
Yes.
And when I told my editor, I was like, we're not going to do this. And she's like, okay. I was like, what? I'm not used to this. She's like, you know what?
Yeah.
So if you're going to go all the way with all this stuff and doing this book like we've never seen done, because they're talking in terms of printing that we've never seen anyone do this.
Right.
Like, all right, well, we'll see. She's like, go all the way. Fuck it.
Yeah.
She's
Do
like,
it.
she's like,
Exactly.
we have whole sections of the book that'll be edited for grammar, everything.
Sure.
Giant sections. It's a giant middle finger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nope, explore it, enjoy,
Yeah.
have fun. And you're just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, like Max was like, where's the periods? I'm like, there's none. You'll find it one day. You'll find it at the last page of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the period where
It
you
just
hit the
keeps
last
going.
page and you're like, oh, the period arrived. Thank you, Jesus. That's the
But
longest.
that's the point is
That
like
is.
literally period point, right? No pun intended, but it's supposed to be what you want it to be, what you're creating it as. And like you said, stream of consciousness, is there really a period? Is there an end? Is there a
No.
comma? Is there no?
Right.
It just continues.
Well, you have to like, because you put people effortlessly into the munchery, like effortlessly. It fits, it slots you right into it. And you're like, okay, great. This is exactly what it is.
Right.
And I'm slotting people right into this mania, this manic
Yeah.
nature of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't sit there and do like, I'm going to steal what you said earlier, waxing poetically about, okay, he walks into the door and he sits down and then has speech bubbles. I'm like, no, there's no speech bubbles. It never breaks to a speech bubble.
Yeah.
It never breaks from a giant rectangle on the
Right.
page. It never breaks. You're just
Right.
like, what the fuck? And it's like, when my wife read the second draft, she's like, Jesus. She's like, this is getting better with each pass.
Right.
She's like, this is evolving in ways I didn't think it would evolve to. And it
Mhm.
evolved On the third draft, it evolved to pictures.
Mm.
And now the book is getting just and
Now it's
it's
really
reached
coming together.
it's reached its penultimate moment, and we're like, okay, this is the form of it. Because
Right.
you know this, because you see when you were building the Munchry, you had this
Yeah.
inclination idea all those years ago, and then it just breaks itself out, and it finally goes this.
Yeah.
This box here is where this exists.
Right.
Paint within it, and we've reached that point, and now we're doing stuff that we've never seen done. Like
Right.
I right now have an editor going, a designer going, and then 2 translators going.
Yeah.
And not because we're translating the whole book, but because there's whole swaths of the book that are told in a different language.
Right. But that's what makes it so invigorating to
Well, that's
work
what
on.
because my editor's like, she's like, is there gonna be any translations? I'm like, fuck no. And she's like, how do you expect people to read it? I'm like, they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. They'll find a way. People do find a way to figure things out, don't they?
Like one of my favorite films is Donnie Darko, where it invites you into figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because I hate movies that get to the end and go, by the way, this is what happened. You're like, I could figure that out. It's like my favorite is Frank Darabont when he was remarking about seeing the original Blade Runner in the theater, and the original cut of Blade Runner was great until the last bit. And because it's where he started talking. He's like, oh well, he's like, I guess he knew he wanted to live. While the fucking dude's letting literally Roy Batty's dead.
Right.
And Frank Darabont said it best. He's like, I'm in the moment. I'm reaching this emotional crescendo watching it. He's like, then it's like I'm fucking my wife and someone pours cold water on me. And this fucking person comes in and starts blah, 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 blah. He's like, fuck. He's like, I know that. Why are you telling me this? Why are you sitting there going,
right.
Oh, well, it's this. You got to do this. Too many authors, I see it now, especially in the indie markets, they explain it. They outright tell you what to say. Like, one of my buddies, Brighton, he read a bunch of it, and he's like, he recited what he thought it's about. He said, am I close? I'm like, you'll never know. He's like, what? I'm like, you won't fucking know, dude. Why am I going to tell you what my interpretation of my own story is?
Right.
It defeats the purpose of writing it for you.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you can ask me specific questions about it, but how you take it.
As Daniel Levsky, he was on he was being interviewed. No, he was on a book tour, and someone's like, what the fuck? And because he did a series called The Familiar.
Yeah.
And there's these weird things in the middle of the book on the spine, on the inside spine, which I can't remember what it's called. And some guy's like, hey, he's like, what's up? What's that shit in the middle of the book? He's like, I'll never tell you. No, I'm not going to tell you. There's a reason for it, but that's up to you to figure out.
Right. Exactly. That's like, for you to decipher on your own.
Well, it goes back to music, right? It goes back to food. Even better, it goes right back to food. You deliver food to somebody and go, this food's supposed to taste like this. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to make you think about this. Because I get food, right? Like, I get food that I eat that sparks. Just, I cannot go through a Thanksgiving without remembering my mom.
Sure.
Because of the stuff she cooked, how she cooked it. Then I can't see burritos without thinking of my dad, or chorizo and eggs without thinking of my dad.
Right.
It's just certain things like smell and taste hits the human brain so fast it can recycle shit out of nowhere. And you're like, holy shit! I remember one time Zara and I were up at Virginia City, Nevada, and I'm eating chocolate with marshmallow, and it just pulled up one of the first memories I had when I was a kid, which is eating a Mallow cup, which is the upstate New York version of a Reese peanut butter cup, but just injected with marshmallows.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Out of nowhere. It's the cool stuff about it. Like, that's the cool thing with, like, Munchry stuff. Once people start cooking with the spices, it now solidifies that, especially if it's kids.
Yeah.
It solidifies that moment in time for that kid the rest of their life.
Right.
Like, it could go 30 years down the line, and the spices aren't being sold anymore, or whatever happens with life, and they hit something that tastes exactly like that. It sparks it right back. Yeah. And that's the cool part. Like Zara and I go through like used bookstores all the time, because it connects us to those old books, like Goosebumps. Yeah. Goosebumps book over there, just because it's one of my favorite Goosebumps. It's one of those things that locks you into memories.
Yeah, it keeps you connected to your inner
Yeah.
your inner child, your memories, your history. Cooking is the same, like recipes are the same. And you
Mhm.
could give three different people the same recipe and you will have three different outcomes because each person is putting their own energy and their own life force into what they're doing. So,
Right.
you can follow everything to a T and it's still going to come out different. Just everyone has a different interpretation of
And that's
what's in front of them.
that's the cool part about it is
Yeah.
like Matt and I have talked about it where it's like food is everything that's creative functions on that same wavelength
Yeah.
where it's open to interpretation and
Yes.
people are best left and people that create the stuff that write it that do the amazing cookies. I see the shit you cook and I'm like fuck, I'm like, you cook cinnamon buns. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally going to grab Pillsbury Doughboys. I'm like, okay, cool. Look at this. I'm an artiste. I warm up the icing. I'm like, oh, look. And it
Well,
looks,
again, it's like we were saying earlier, you get to a place where you just know. You
yeah,
just know and you've been trained, you've spent your entire life honing your craft, however you've been doing it, whatever led you to this point, and you just know that how things can come together, what could work and it works for you. You know what I mean? Like it's your line of sight and your interpretation and it makes sense to you. It may not
mhm,
make sense to other people, but I think that the biggest compliment that I get a lot with the food that I put out there is people that will say, I don't really like that, but you make me want to try it.
yeah.
And like that's the thing that's important to me. It's just to kind of, okay, good. That's good because now you're thinking about it.
Well, you understand, unlike most authors, is that you can have the prettiest food in the world, and if it tastes like shit, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
It
And
doesn't
you can
matter.
do the inverse,
Right.
where you see book covers. Like I see book covers and I'm like, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Yeah.
And it could have the
Yeah.
great, like people judge food based off the look
Sure.
first,
Sure. You
and
eat
then
with
the
your
smell
eyes.
comes second, and then the taste comes third.
Yep.
Same thing with books. They look at the spine first because it's usually jammed in between a bunch of other
Yeah.
stuff, and they
Yeah.
slot it out. And if it looks like shit, I've Zara and I have looked at covers where you
Yeah.
just put it right back in. We've
Yeah.
come into like Barnes and Nobles, and there's authors sitting there just gloomy. I'm like, just say something.
Yeah.
It seems like a dick thing, but I won't buy from those authors
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because, especially, I won't buy from the authors if the cover looks like shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the first. Those two things are the first avenue, the first ways you communicate to a reader.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've run into like a couple. I ran into an author here like a month ago, and I walk in, and he's like, just starts talking. I'm like, okay. Started talking to him, bought his book, had him sign it. I was like, okay, great. This is like, and it's not that bad of a book. I was like, okay. It's just people are failing to kind of put the best foot out forward.
Well, yeah, I think again, it's a lot of about where they're coming from with
Oh,
with themselves, and
I think it's
I
that.
run into
And
this a lot. Like people, you put so much time and effort and work into it, and then you do it, and then it's like that's it. There's not a lot of promotion. They don't really want to talk about it. They're just so it's kind of like, but
I think
don't
it's,
you
I think
want
it's,
people to read it? Do you
yeah,
want people to, you know?
I think it's that. And it's a good chunk of it is wholesale laziness.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think there's so much of it, and not wholesale. Let me retract that. It's laziness, but a lot of it more so is reticence because
Hmm.
every single creative person does not want to talk to people,
Right.
does not want to be in public, does not. We're all introverts. So it's laziness
I know, I
that
know.
comes about because of reticence. So
Right.
people won't, like, oh, I got to go out and talk to people. What the fuck is
Yeah.
this? What do I got to go
Yeah.
and sell it? Like, and it's tough. Like the first convention we did with my comic, the first couple sales, I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't rattle out the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. And I just finally said, none of these people are going to remember me. If they
Right.
don't buy the book, they won't even
So
remember
it
me.
doesn't matter what I say.
I'm like, let's just do it. And I just started talking and boom, boom,
Exactly.
boom. And then
It doesn't really matter then, does it?
and then
Yeah.
it clicked and I was like, oh, hey, great.
Yeah.
And now it's when we pitched Tannhauser to people that were like the editor, it just comes out.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the cool thing. Like my wife said it best. I mean, I still have the bouts of depression that hits, but she's like,
Sure.
it's cool to see the old James, the guy that predates all my dad's death, come back, but now he's coming
Yeah.
back in a way that's just brutal. And like Zara does all these book reviews and stuff, and she's finding more and more people that are doing creative stuff. And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, it's cool to see people doing it finally. So it's starting to shift. We're starting to
Yes.
see the shift happen where authors and creatives and podcasters are going, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this. Like
Yeah.
you returned, like when I heard you were coming back, I was like, okay, great. Because I remember you from the Phantom Zone days.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that'd be cool. And the best part of the Phantom Zone days was you entirely.
Thank you.
And now it's just entirely that.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part about it, is because so many podcasters are like, I hate the lit bro shit. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Or it's like these dudes that are like, this book here was written by
Yeah.
Moby Dick, Herman Melville. So you're an idiot if you don't like
Moby
it.
Dick wrote a book too. You didn't know that.
You should read it. And if you don't like it, you're a peasant. I'm like, fuck your peasantry,
Yeah,
man.
I know. It's insane.
It's
When I
to be themselves.
Yeah, when I decided to pick it up again, because it, I was doing it a few years ago, and then again, like all the stuff that happened in my life, everything came to a screeching halt. I just had no love for anything at all that I was doing, and if it wasn't for the fact that I was a mom and had my daughter, like I don't even know like where I would be. And I knew that regardless of what I was feeling, that I had to keep going somehow. And when the flupocalypse was going on and the whole world was turned on its ass, and it was my way of reconnecting with people, and checking in and seeing, are you okay? And again, like using food as the kind of the thing that invited people back in to just talk about what they wanted to talk about. And then the book happened, and I started kind of getting back to this supernova kind of version of myself, which is what I refer to it as, because now like I
Super
really just,
Saiyan.
yeah, I just don't fucking care. I just don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I care, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to do what I wanted to do and the way that I wanted to do it. So,
Yeah.
I knew that if I was going to do the podcast again, I had to, level it up and step up my game and try to have some kind of thing into it. And everything just fell into place. Like once I put it out there again, I didn't say anything until I said, hey, you know what? Bringing it back. Then people rallied, people came forward. My friend Jason was like, hey, if you need me to do some voice stuff for you, just let me know. And it just kind of started from there. And then I made the ballsy ass move of approaching a band that I discovered on TikTok out of Portland, Oregon. And they, I love their music from the beginning. Like I saw the video, they were just kind of jamming out, and I was like, wow, like they're really good. So started following them. They started following me. We would like commenting on each other's posts and stuff. And then I'd already had this going, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to shoot my shot. And I messaged them and sent them a VM, and I was like, I know you don't know me. I know you don't know who the hell I am. But I was like, A, I invite you onto the show, and B, I really love your music, and I was wondering if maybe you would consider kind of sort of letting me maybe use one of your songs for my podcast. Like I was like, nah. But I did it, and if I didn't do that, if I didn't just say, fuck it, and do it, I wouldn't have what I have now. And then my friend Bruce came in and did the artwork. He did the logo, and everything just came together because I made a decision to do something that I wanted to do, but also was very, very hesitant to do because I was like, what? It didn't even. I didn't care. I
have this saying that when I was going through it all, I knew my mom was on the other side going, "Quit being a little bitch and get up." And I can hear your best friend go, quit being a little bitch.
No, I'm telling you, I'm so glad you touched on that, because that's how I felt going forward, because all the years of them, pumping you up and telling you these things, that, I see great things for you. You're meant for this. And, I mean, it was kind of like a succession of deaths that happened. My best friend Lexi died. My cousin passed away. My grandmother and my best friend died within months of each other. And then another friend of mine passed away. Then my relationship with my daughter's father fell to shit. So it was like my entire world for me was leveled. And all I kept hearing was, well, now's the time. Like now you got to do it. So I almost akin this to like Rose at the end of the movie Titanic, where you see her.
Are you talking the one that threw the fucking heart of the ocean in the fucking ocean? The one that let her husband work the rest of his life? Like that let her husband work, slave away when she had
at the end where you see all the photographs of her on her night table of all the stuff that they spoke about together they were going to do. is where I'm at now. So the
Yeah.
things that I'm doing now are the things that we said that maybe we would do together, or the things that they saw in me that I could do. So I feel like I owe it to them as much as myself to give it a shot and do it. And I'm glad. I'm glad I did. You know, it's my way of honoring them and honoring myself, and just, you know, doing what I feel I need to do.
I always said, going through Tannhauser and doing all the stuff on it, is that it comes from a myriad of multiple areas, but
Yeah.
it comes from one of the main things is anyone that's gone through grief like we have. You always think you have time.
Yeah.
You don't. No
You
one
really
has time. I could
Nope.
die in 5 minutes after this is done.
Yeah.
And we just won't know. And that's the thing. You get people like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. There's no tomorrow. No one
There
has
isn't.
tomorrow.
There
Because
isn't.
I remember thinking with my dad, well, I got time. I can come back
Yeah.
and visit him.
Yeah.
Nope. I was out. I was gone for 2 months out of his life for 2 months. And he was
Yeah.
like that. Taking us a whole. You've got to be kidding me.
Right. Right.
And it's cool to see more like-minded people like you doing stuff. Because back in the day, I remember you were fucking awesome. Like, you were one of the few podcasts that I went on. I was like, I went on some weird podcast. Was like, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so which pen do you use? Fuck, what? I
Yeah.
remember one time,
Yeah.
like, well, you shot the film. Did you use this lens? I'm like, I did. Okay, well, how'd you use it? We attached it, and then there's this thing called a focus ring. I'm like, I should probably ask my DOP. And it's just like people are like, oh, okay.
I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like most people, like, the reason Joe Rogan's podcasts are so popular is he doesn't bring people on and go, okay, hold up your book and go, this is my book.
Right,
Just
right.
buy it.
Well, because
Thanks.
obviously that's why, you know, you're there, right? That's why you're here, is because of what you do and what you are about to unleash upon the world. But at the same time, like, I want to hear more about you as a person, and I think other people want to hear that too. They want to understand, like, where you're coming from. And again, like the topics that we've even, you know, discussed about grief and, you know, the process of creation and reinvention and all of that is really important for people to hear other people say, because you become so enclosed in your own, like, bubble of grief and sadness, and you kind of forget that other people may not have gone through it the way you have, but they've gone through it. And you know, if you can hear someone else say that this is where I got this from, this is where the idea came from, and that you can continue, you can still go on.
For men, it's
and
a
it goes
closed
back
loop.
to, like, what your father, I feel like, said to you, you know, like, go, you know, like, go on, you know, like, because I think sometimes when that happens, it's almost like not that they need permission to leave, but I think that, you know what I mean? I think it helps for them to know that it's all right. It's all right, you know?
It was because my father always said he wanted to make sure we were all okay before he was ready to go.
Right.
And doing creative work, it's hit and miss.
Yeah.
You have to be able to persevere through it, because you
Right.
go through multiple failures before you get through to something that
You
breaks
sure
that
do.
glass ceiling. And I was
That's
lucky
what
enough
no
to
one
do
really
it with,
sees. Yeah.
yeah, I was lucky enough to do it with a couple films and then a comic book pretty quickly. Like, the comic book sold out convention after convention.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And it all was because it came down to the story between a mother and her son.
Yeah.
Didn't care about the art, the writing, the covers, any of that stuff. None of that
Yeah.
mattered really per se. What mattered was that people saw the regret that
Right.
they have. And that's the stuff. That's the thing that's really cool with Tannhauser, really cool with Munchery, is that people are going to connect to these projects like they've always wanted to, because you see it's just the same cycle. And especially with men, it's like a closed loop. It's like a feedback loop of, you get stuck and it's almost impenetrable. It's almost impossible, not impenetrable. It's unsexual. It's almost impossible to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because you get stuck in the cycle of, like, okay, well, the cycle that repeated in my head was I killed my dad. And it still occasionally creeps back in there. And it's just
Right.
like, it just repeats and repeats, and you just start self-destructing. You start
Sure.
destroying everything.
The
You start
guilt, yeah,
destroying your
the
life, and then
rumination of everything. Yeah.
eventually you find the way out. The off ramp kind of appears out of nowhere. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, do I stay on this little road, or do I go over this way and see
Right.
what the hell happens? And
Right.
if you go off that ramp, sometimes if you do it the right way and you don't
Sure.
careen off the guardrails of the ramp, you can kind of come down off of it, slow down, and start figuring out what this is that's
Right.
causing this.
Right.
And most people, like most men I know, do not go to therapy.
Hmm.
And it's specifically because I think it's also societal, but it's also that the last thing we want to go do is sit with someone we don't know and then talk to them and go, hey, this is why I'm sad. I
Right.
got beat up when I was a kid, or I got this and stuff. Most men don't want to do that. It's easier for them
Hmm.
to just push it down, bury it, and
Right.
then just take it to the grave.
Right.
But for some people, the creative minded that do it in the correct way, they actually use that. And
Yes.
it's almost a subconscious way, and then other men see it and connect to it. It's
Yes.
like I joke with my wife all the time is men in fiction we run into that we see this thing where it's like men cannot have sex scenes, so to speak, in their books where it's like, oh, okay, you're objectifying women. It's like, no, it's just the perspective of the male's perspective, because that's how the male's
Right.
mind functions.
Right.
And Zara said it best, where she's like, so they complain about that, but then they buy 50 Shades of Grey to the tune of billions of dollars.
Right.
Like, it's just the different perspectives. It's like the
Yes.
people like Tannhauser is entirely from a subjective experience. I
Hmm.
didn't want to do this story about a grand cataclysm from like, oh, cutting out to the wide shot and seeing
Yeah.
helicopters and stuff. I wanted to do it from if you saw the end of the world from one person's perspective,
Right.
from one person's screen, one person's keyboard, nothing else.
Hmm.
And it's the perspectives that you see in Muntree, you see in all these other systems. It's people need to come to terms with the fact that not everything has to be objective. And the stuff that's objective, like, is like popcorn stuff, like Independence Day, 100% objective.
Sure.
It's just aliens showing up and nuking the world. And you're like, okay, you got Will Smith, you got all those other guys.
Right.
And then you go down to one of the best examples of subjective storytelling is the Chernobyl series,
Yeah.
where it opens brilliantly.
Yeah.
Besides the cold open it goes to when the Chernobyl the Chernobyl nuclear reactor explodes. It doesn't cut into the inside like Deep Horizon style. I think Dirk Writer said that, where it cuts in and you see the oil thing blowing up and then Michael Bay's the shit out of it.
Yeah.
It literally is a pregnant woman waking up, throwing up, and the camera tracks with her and she goes out into the hall, out into her kitchen, and there's a window and there's a flash and then a thud. That's it.
That's it.
That's all it is. That's the thing that's the cool stuff with like Tannhauser, cool stuff with Muntree is it's focused. It's hyper focused on this. It's
Yeah.
like, this is what you're going to get. You're not going to get anything else. You're getting
Yeah.
this thing. And we see it. And you have to be willing to say stuff in your work that is absent the fear of public criticism. Because even if you
Right.
do everything right, you're going to be criticized by the people in the cheap
There's
seats
always
screaming and
going to
yelling.
be someone that doesn't like it, that doesn't
Yeah.
relate to it, or because that again, like pushing past all of that stuff when I was writing it from my perspective as a mother and as a cook and chef, and having this child, and wanting to create something that brought a bit more curiosity and awareness to it. And then having other, maybe even autism parents kind of chime in and say things like, well, she's not as bad as my kid, or like that kind of inner sanctum kind of comparison that happens within
Mhm.
communities as well. But again, reiterating the point that like I'm writing it from my experience, like
Yep.
it's from my vantage point only. I'm not speaking for anybody else other than how I've lived my life.
Well, it's
And
it's
no,
that
no.
subjectivity that people not suffering. Jesus, I'm horrible. I've been crucified, man. Fuck. People in that fucking people in that environment with kids
Yeah.
like that have similar subjectivities that you have.
Yeah.
They see the similar optics. Like Matt, like has the same thing. Like
Yeah.
he'll text me certain things. The kids are going through this and this and this.
Right.
That's what literally takes your audience from this wide perspective to and it
Yeah.
narrows.
Yeah.
And that audience purchases and buys and
Yeah.
does stuff and goes, oh my God, this is me, this is me, this is me. And
Yeah.
eventually that starts to creep outwards. And
Yeah.
you start to get more people that are, okay, well, I'm curious about this. Like, and we see it. We saw it
Yeah.
with we saw it with my films, we saw it with other things. People like, I did a film where it was put into hospices because it was one of those stories that was done so well that it helped people begin to learn the process of grieving. Or
Yes.
because I like my whole stuff with my mom was I was watching the death coming at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my dad, it was just
Yeah.
just this flash, just like oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's all that subjectivity, and I think a lot of authors and cooks, even to the same fashion, would behoove themselves to stick to their subjectivities.
Yeah.
That's not to say you can't do objective storytelling, but it's to say that the best stories are subjective.
Yeah.
They are wholly focused and inordinately determined to stay what they're doing. They don't
Right.
give a shit about what's outside the window. Like one of the best, everyone's going to criticize me again. I'll say this again, but I think
Bring
the
it
best,
on.
the best M. Night Shyamalan movie is Signs. I told you. I knew it. I'm getting crucified. What's
No, because I really do enjoy that movie. There's a
happening?
lot about that movie that I really, really like a lot. Simply because of how he deals with the whole thing
Mhm.
of, the grief and the guilt, and how it just kind of circles back around to, especially, when he's talking to his wife, and, she's just not even here anymore, but she's still talking to him, and, just everything that goes along with that storytelling, the supernatural aspect of it, and the aliens, and, just how everyone is dealing with trying to move on with their life through it. And honestly, that one, Lady in the Water, is another
that
one.
was his last decent.
Yeah, because again, I just felt like it was really creative and inventive storytelling to kind of weave all of these things into one. So
Because I started back at the gym. Now that makes me want to just work out the right side of my body. Just half of me is just looks like a busted can of biscuits, and the other half is like that was the funniest part of the whole movie.
Oh, I'm definitely biscuit dough all day. I got
It's
rolls
like,
and butter, baby.
God, I'm just glad none of us will ever write The Happening.
Right.
Like, hey, did you like hot dogs? Do you know they have a cool shape? Holy shit, dude! Of course, the hot dog's a cool shape. It's like some of the weird people are like, bananas are my favorite. My favorite, and this is funny. I laugh about it. Bananas were designed. I'm like, why? Because it fits into your hand and it peels open. I'm like,
That's
the
why.
fucking orange. Like, fuck. It's like, what?
They were made for us,
It was
man.
made for us, man. Fucking Adam in the Garden of Eden's like, hey, I'm gonna make this banana.
Yeah, that's not the banana he was offering. I'll tell you that right
what
now.
the fuck? It's hilarious. You're just like, okay, guys, maybe just the banana. I mean, that's the funny thing is, well, to a certain extent, they're right, because the American banana is genetically modified to look yellow.
Very
Like
much.
you look
so.
at actual bananas, they're like ugly. I'm like, I ain't putting that in me.
Yeah.
They've got seeds in it. It's like,
I think we've all put worse in our mouths, though.
it's like,
let's
keep the
be
foul
honest.
thing away from me, please.
Yeah.
It's like those memes were terrible. Or at least I'm terrible. You're
That's
awesome.
okay. I own it.
I'm fucking awful. Like, it's like some of the people like, that's the best part. Is like, you're one of the few people that can get me to go back to this guy. It's like, what's the fuck?
Good.
I'm like,
that's what I wanted.
it's the
I want that guy.
it's the upstate New Yorker in me. The guy, it's like,
Yes.
they would like, I would hit stuff like I hit stuff. I'd be on like films or comic stuff, and I'd be like, what the fuck is that? Why does the wheelchair with spokes cast a solid black shadow? What the fuck is
It
this?
makes no sense. Yet I want to know
that
more.
way. I did it on a film one time. Like, why would the guy stare at his mom and then kind of be sad? I'm like, the mom's dead. Well, why would he not just run to her? I'm like, why if your mom is dead and she rocks up into your fucking composer area, whatever you call it, studio, you're gonna go, mommy,
Yeah.
You're not gonna run at
Yeah,
him
like
like a
there's
little
no, yeah, like what?
3-year-old. You're gonna go,
Where's the realism in the reaction?
why the fuck are you here? You're creepy. Like, as vulgar as it is, I have my parents' ashes downstairs in my house. But like, seeing my mom walk in that door, I'll be like, what? I'm gonna run at her. I'm gonna go, aren't you in the box downstairs, Mom? Like, what the fuck? It's like, shit. It was my mom.
He's like, I'm just checking in, making sure you're still doing what I told you to do.
That's a funny story, and it took me a while to laugh about it. But when I got the call that my mom had passed on, I told my dad, I was like, don't let him take her. I'm coming there right now. I drove over there as fast as I could. And I'm going to predicate this on. I got to the room, and my mom's laying down, and she had a massive heart attack. And she was bleeding out of her ears and eyes, and I'm sitting there holding on to her crying. And I was sitting there, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, don't do it. Because I remember the story my mom would tell us, because my mom wanted to be a funeral director, and we're like, no, you're not touching kids after you poke corpses for a living. No, thank you. So she never got to be a funeral director. She's like, you know what? Because I got fucked out of my career by you kids, because you wouldn't let me be it. When I die, I'm going to pick my corpse up, take its arms, and chase you with it. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't. No, please. It took me a long time to get over that. It's like, God, I think that's like my mom's way of instilling in all of us that it's, even with death, it's brutal.
Yes.
It's hard, but eventually it begins to ebb. And you'll never replace the giant chasms that these people leave in your lives.
Yes.
You'll never replace it. You'll just build a little rickety bridge mine's built out of like
very,
fucking
very rickety.
popsicle sticks and other glue and owner's glue. It's like, but eventually you reach that point, and a lot of us that are creatives start creating food, start creating books, start creating comics and films and stuff. And those are the films and the creative stuff that stands the test of time.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that doesn't round out the corners or lowers the like my book itself is like speculative literature. So it's a little higher in dialogue. It's like writing Goosebumps, and I wrote a Goosebumps book, it would fail because every kid's like, what the fuck is this, Mom? What does verisimilitude mean? What is this?
I know, they're like, hey Siri, what does this mean?
Like Sarah comes up to her and says, hey, look at this, because she's got me into reading like ebooks.
Yeah.
She's like, I learned something cool today, because this is back when we got that book. So she's reading Tom's Crossing. She's doing her own little reviews on it right now. She's like, I learned something. I was like, what's that? She's like, look at this. On the ebooks, if you hold the word, it pulls up the definition.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
I was like, that's cool as shit.
That's really cool.
I'm like, I got to contact that company to see if they can give me royalties, because that's going to happen
integration.
A lot.
Yeah.
And Tannhauser, people will be like, fuck is this word?
You're going to need it. Yeah.
They're going to be sitting there like, fucking motherfucker, this piece of shit
writer. What the fuck? Finish.
This guy needs this job. Like, I was on my Substack, and some dude posted, he's like, all you writers that use big words, you're making people terrible. Or you're making people angry because they don't understand. It doesn't make it better writing. And I responded in the most douchebag way. I was like, yeah, let's round off the corners. Let's go ahead and homogenize it, suppression, and make it boring.
Each book comes with a box of crayons too.
Yeah, okay? The best part is that got so many likes. I'm like, woo, I'm not alone.
Right.
Thank you. I hate opening adult fiction, and it's like, he opened door.
Yeah.
He smiles at Mom.
Yeah, overly simplified.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
give me some descriptives, because you want to be a better reader.
I read this book, and I read this first chapter, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was like the earthy scent came into my house, and I'm like, that's it?
The earthy scent.
I'm like, the earthy scent. I'm like, I was like, I can't remember. It was like something. It was something sound. It was an earthy sound. It was something with like the end of the world or some shit. And I was like, you could literally use the earthy scent comes into the house to describe the house, a house that's been discarded and destroyed after the end of the world. That seeps in through all this sort of shit. You could literally paint a picture more than earthy scent.
Yeah.
Or like what? It's like,
yeah.
Dude, like
are we talking about a candle or a soap? Like, what are we talking about here? Yeah.
See that
Earthy scents.
dude. That's the next thing for novels.
The new cologne by Schumacher.
No, there we go. We need to write a book where it deals with a fucking food sense. Scratch and sniff Snickers. That's the next thing.
Listen, one of the things I put out there years ago when I started writing the book, like when she was young, is I said one of the things I wanted to do was a scratch and sniff cookbook.
Dude,
like,
why are you not doing
right?
it?
Like, why is no one else fucking doing that though? It's like, it's not. I mean, we had scratch and sniff stickers everywhere. We had scented markers, scented pens. Like,
well, the scented markers are an explanation for my mild stupidity. I would come up like fucking. It looks like cocaine, but that's like,
I know. Why do you have all that
know?
ink on the tip of your nose?
Like you're snorting so much it's draining down the back of your throat.
I know.
Like,
it's like whiteout, like back in the day when you opened the wet.
But that's a fucking amazing idea. You could do that with bookmarks.
Yeah.
You can do a bookmark that smells like the food, but you have to figure out how to get the food to smell like it.
I really kind of think in that kind of Willy Wonka kind of way of like.
That's how you have to.
Lickable wallpaper and never-ending gobstopper and the stuff that changes flavors as it goes along. Like, why not? Why not?
I mean, there is like the Nintendo Switch game cartridges are flavored because kids are putting it in their mouth. It's like, it tastes like shit, Mom. You're not supposed to put the cartridge in your mouth, you idiot.
Why doesn't it taste like taffy? Yeah,
well, that's the cool stuff. Like, but you know exactly if you do this because you're gonna do it. I know you're gonna do it because it's a fucking brilliant idea. Someone's gonna do it from the aspect of like some brothel, and it's gonna be just these heinous smells of fucking halitosis and beer.
Yeah,
I mean, dried nether region shit. It's like
really
that's the
beer
worst
and
part.
regret.
Oh, I hate you. That's what I say to people all the time.
We all know that scent.
I walked into work one time and I'm like, it smells like shit, regret.
Yeah.
Like, Max looks at me, what the fuck? What does regret smell like, bro? Like,
it smells like a world of things.
I told him, I'm like, breathing deep. He's like,
yes.
What do you smell? That's regret.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's
the scent.
He's like, what the hell? Because that'd be cool.
Let's
like,
capture it. Let's do it.
Why haven't you done that? Why haven't you done that for you? You got to do that. You have to do that for your next book when you do it.
Yeah, no, it's something that I've been wanting to work out for a long time. And I was just thinking about it about a month and a half ago of like, because, I'm still in the process of doing
the next ones.
Yeah. And, so it's like, okay, where could it go next? And, again, like the merch thing and people, chiming in with ideas and other writers, like with what they're thinking about doing and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I'm really about doing something very different and something unexpected, which is kind of like my MO. Like I like doing things that, you didn't really like, like it's not just a sandwich. It's, it's this and this, put together.
I just had this idea, and I'm not going to tell you now. I'll tell you once we're done, so no one steals it from me. But I think it's a fucking damn good idea.
All right, good. We'll do the post show.
Because Gary Vee talks about it. Like we have, they call it hardcover, soft, like trade paperbacks, all this normal shit. Gary Vee was telling people, like, you guys need to do multiples. Like variant covers in comics and all that sort of shit. To induce the the collective nature of your work.
Yes.
Doing like a specialized version of
like a special edition, revised.
Stuff that's completely different. Like there's a book, and I can never remember the name of it, where the guy wanted to create a book that was about a bunch of short stories about the end of the world, and then the publisher that he was going through was like, we're gonna do a competition, guys. And your whole thing is to destroy the book in the manner that makes it feel more apocalyptic. And then he's like, you send it back to us, we judge it, and then if you win, we'll give you your book. If you don't win, you're out of your book.
Right.
So many people did it. So many people destroyed their books.
Yeah.
And it created just this community around that author where everyone's okay, it becomes participation. It becomes you become a participant in the creation of his work.
Yeah.
And it's I use the word verisimilitude. Max looked at me, he's like, hold on. Why don't you just say reality?
Yeah.
Because I'm not a douchebag.
Because it sounds so much sexier that way, doesn't it?
Like Max is gonna listen to this and he's gonna come fucking chase me. Come here, bitch. Why are you talking shit about me on a podcast?
Because
Asshole.
I can.
Well, it's because you're a damn good writer and you're doing nothing with it besides looking adorable. So I
Hey
told him,
man,
like,
you got it. However, you got to motivate somebody, right, to get to the
I
to the
told him,
finish line. So
he got so mad at me because I'm like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, you're genuinely talented and you're wholesalely dedicated to remaining in your life looking like Fievel from Fievel Goes West. And
aw.
he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Because he went home and told his wife, and she's like, I could see that. And he's like, oh, you fucking asshole, dude. So, but he's one of those guys, one of those dudes that the younger guys that I'm like, you genuinely have this gift and you really need to pursue it. That's
Yes.
the stuff you're doing with all these authors and everyone you're meeting over this next coming all these next years of your career is you're meeting those types of people. And I had
Yeah.
this amazing guy. His name was Weston, and he unexpectedly died. And was a good kid, smart as hell, was an amazing musician. It reminded me of Iggy Pop. And he's like, I don't like being called Iggy Pop, but I love Iggy Pop.
Mm-hmm.
And he would write this music and he would approach it from a different perspective. Because I told him told him like you don't have to do it like everyone else does it. Like there's this TikTok out there where it's this celloist playing a song, and the guy's kind of watching him and teaching him. He's like, don't do that. He's like, drive down into the strings. He's like, put your way into it. He's like, the more you do, the more you manipulate it, the more it feels like it's your own note, because no note's the same thing. Like you said earlier, everyone can tell the same food. Like not tell, create the same food but different flavors.
Yeah.
When I lived in LA, thank God I'm not there anymore. But I love
You're not
LA.
missing much.
I was accepted into the actor studio for the director's unit. And I was like, okay, this is fucking insane.
Yeah.
I'm around some of the most like high-end actors that I can ever fucking see. So, all right, so I'm doing this directing scene. So they asked all the directors, take the scene. And the scene was literally like a page and a half of a man and a woman. And then a woman comes in and goes, would you like an orange? And they said, do that, but do it in your own perspective. So there's guys that did it where they're in between doors, and there's guys that did it where they're like, it's an action scene. That's like, okay, I did it because I've never done comedy, and they wanted you to do comedy. They wanted you to do stuff that's outside of your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So let's do this. And I'm like, all right, like husband and wife are going to divorce court at the same time. They're both texting someone. And behind him is this woman in a red dress, and they're texting, and the husband texts, the woman in the red's phone goes off. The wife texts, the woman in the red's phone goes off. And it's inferred that you find out pretty quickly that both of them are sleeping with that same woman, and that's the mistress that is the reason they're getting a divorce. And I remember, like, I did the scene, and it was crickets. Like, oh, shit. And I've got some of the best playwrights, some of the best directors there. I'm like, oh, fuck. And
Wow.
I remember the guy, he's looking at me, and he's like, what were you trying to do? I think it was Martin Landau. So I'm like, I was trying comedy. He's like, so what'd you think? Was it funny? I'm like, no. He's like, it fucking wasn't. Do it again. I was like, what? Okay, I go back to the exit. Like, so make it funny. That's my direction.
Right.
So they did it again. He's like, okay, why were you trying to do it? I was like, I've never done comedy before. And he kind of looks at the rest of the directors like, you're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be coming here to get the shit kicked out of you, to be just torn apart, to figure out what you can do best.
Yeah.
And they went through the whole crowd. The whole crowd was like, okay, you're not comedy, but your comedy derives just out of the situation. And I remember one guy was like, he's like, you can tell an exceptional story for clothing. He's like, because you literally communicated from props, clothing, positioning. We knew exactly what they were doing and where they were going without you having to say it.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this, where food and film and books does the same thing.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put the work into it.
Yeah.
If you're willing to go, how can I tell you something about this guy without going, he likes his eggs poached, or he likes this. Like, you're going to get the chefs like my buddy Matt, when I told him, he's like, I can't see that.
Yeah.
Some people are like, okay, so why are we describing eggs again? It's like,
Right.
shut up. That's why he's
Right.
getting eggs. He likes them.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how you engage and get people like into it, because especially when it comes to something like eggs in particular, like people are very, very, very specific about how they like their eggs. And, so it's one of those subjects where it's like, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but then like, you take anyone to a diner and ask them how they want their eggs and forget it. It's a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, a very unique perspective for sure.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. So speaking of, okay, because we're gonna bring it home now.
Yeah,
okay?
bring it home. Oh God, I got my.
We're gonna bring it home.
Let me get my Bible.
Yeah.
Make sure not the normal Bible, but my answer.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I ask everybody this question that is on the show.
Why would you ask these questions?
Because there's
why are we asking me questions now? Huh? Why can't I ask you questions?
Well, I think we've both been asking each other questions this whole time. Like,
why are you so
feel like
cool?
we're both just kicking it with each other, picking each other's brains. But the reason I ask this question is because I like to hear what people say, and also because in my mind, at some point, I want to actually recreate these menus. All right, so
good luck with my white trash.
Here we go. We're going for it. If you could describe yourself as an appetizer, entree, and dessert, what would you be and why? Don't think about it too much. Tell me what you really
forgot
feel.
That question. I forgot that question. So
yeah, well, that's the million. That's my James Lipton inside the actor studio question. That's my Pearly Gates question.
So as an appetizer.
Yes. And why?
Shit. I didn't think about this one. I thought about every one, but not this one. Fuck, now I'm on the spot.
That's why I ask it. I can see the gears turning in your
Zara will laugh because she's gonna see this and go, holy shit. So how do you not know that as an appetizer? Because she knows I'm the most plain eating food person.
She's
ever.
like, I don't know if I want to be on this podcast now. I might be having second thoughts.
Appetizer, chili cheese fries.
Okay, nice. I actually said that in the first podcast, the first one I did. I was like, yep, I would definitely throw down on some chili cheese fries. Yes, and why? Why would you be chili cheese fries?
It's my white trash roots. It connects back to upstate New York. A lot of my food stuff connects to childhood memories.
Sure.
That was one of the times I remember my dad, upstate New York, like we're on this beach, and he comes back from these like confectionery. Was it confectionery or the food stands, food trucks, with some fries? And he sits there with me, and we're sitting out. My mom's out in the lake with my sisters, and we just eat fries together. Just nothing between us. Just ate fries. And it just connects me to that memory.
Yeah.
And then entree,
yes.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay. And why? Why are you spaghetti and meatballs?
Because my mom had this goes to one of the other questions, but my mom would cook spaghetti meatballs. She couldn't do the noodles by hand. But she would cook it, put it in the fridge, and wouldn't even let us eat it for a day. So we would always come home, and she had this giant wok, and she would throw half a stick of butter, a bunch of garlic cloves, a bunch of everything crushed, and they would fry the spaghetti.
I love that. I love that.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's what I used to do with my mom's leftover spaghetti. Like, it was always better the next day.
Oh yeah.
And then just fry. Oh my God, fried spaghetti.
I'm hungry.
So slept. I know. It's dinner time.
Shit.
I want chili cheese fries. I want fried spaghetti. Oh my God.
And then dessert, right?
Yes, dessert.
Okay. Between Oreo cake and cookies and cream, it goes back to when I was 12, and my mom is exceedingly sick from cancer. And my dad went to a Baskin Robbins place and asked for the tubs. And he came home with fucking giant tubs. Gave just kids for the
ask and you shall receive. Yeah.
That was like 50 gallons of ice cream. And it just connects me to that moment. Connects me to the moments where I can see my dad not crushed by the pain and the sorrow that defined his life. I can see the hints at the guy he always wanted to be.
Right.
And it's, I don't know, it's just one of those memories where you think about it and it kind of makes you cry.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next one? What's my next, am I into like that? Am I into like, I don't know, I can't think of anything funny. Am I into food porn? No, I'm not. I'm not into that shit. Please don't. Nor do I eat Snickers
We
upside
won't
down.
talk about that.
Yeah. Nor do I eat Snickers upside down for the veiny texture.
Right? Exactly.
Fuck, okay.
Many a practice has been done with the Snickers bar, I can tell you that.
Jesus.
How low can you go?
I have a dialect, my esophagus is crushed, but
Yeah,
hey,
I know, like, oh,
I can't do it. It's like, fuck.
Is
Why
there
are we
a
talking
cat
deep
reflex
throat
in
and
the
Snickers
house?
now? We are so blacklisted on
Well, it's
any
easier
platform.
now because the Snickers bars are a lot smaller than they used to be. Okay.
It's shrinkflation, man.
Yeah,
they charge
big
more and they give
time.
you less.
Big time. The shrinkflation is real.
Oh,
Well, on
what's
that
up?
note, darling. Well, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you, where they can stalk you, and learn more about everything you're about to do?
So they can follow me. They can follow the behind the scenes making of Tannhauser and join a bunch of people that are wanting to explore their own grief through tannhausernovel.substack.com. We're releasing through there behind the scenes glimpses, commentaries, essays, everything that connects my own personal tragedy to others. And we're building a community of people that like-minded people that want to connect with others and want to see their personal pain and actually see it in other people and do something with it as opposed to let it destroy them.
Yeah.
And then I'm on TikTok, which I don't know my TikTok
I
handle.
know.
We'll put it up
Welcome to
here.
the madness.
Like put a link right here. I don't know my TikTok. I'm
Yes,
terrible
I will
at TikTok.
put links all over the place so people can.
And then I'm on Instagram.
Instagram.
That's for James Schumacher III. James D. Schumacher III. This thing right here.
Yeah.
For that and that behind Instagram.com.
Yes.
And you'll see my
Wonderful.
weird nature shit.
The other things you're about.
No, Substack is where I'm predominantly releasing everything for the book.
Right.
And then eventually it all leads up to the penultimate moment. Like this podcast will be linked onto an actual full-length article that's already been written.
Okay.
It'll actually link to that. And so people like did one where I did the essay, and then the podcast is in there and everything's linked to it.
Cool.
Because I think like this stuff, like we were talking earlier, so many creative people have a hard time talking to people.
Yeah.
So hopefully people connect to that and go, okay, cool. And then
yeah,
on
like
top of that,
it's really not that bad. I mean, like we captured a vibe. It's like we're talking on the phone, only we're filming it.
yeah, that's the thing that
You know?
I want for people that see this, especially through the Substack.
Yeah.
Is people to discover people like you, people that are not.
I have yet to foray into Substack. So I will
brutal.
probably be leaning on you very heavily once I finally make that leap, because I'm very curious about it. I've heard it mentioned so many times.
It's way
by
different.
It's
like you're talking into a void, and there are people that there are people that have been on the platform for years and have like 3 subscribers.
Right.
And then
Which is fine.
I've amassed 18 right now, which is somewhat decent for Substack.
Right. Yeah.
Then you get the people, the pretty women that get on there and have thousands of them, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then you get AI slop, and you're like, okay. But that's the other thing is Substack right now is ruled by algorithm.
Okay.
So when you start,
all of it is though, right? You know, each platform has different things going on, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yep. Indeed.
Well,
you know what? I will be joining the ranks of Substack, and I will probably have maybe you that will follow me there.
I charge money.
Maybe. I just might. Maybe. But listen, I am so grateful that you agreed to be back on with me, and I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to learn more about everything that you have going on. I'm super excited for you, and I can't wait to talk to your lady Fair as well. Yeah. She will be on the show at some point very, very soon. So hopefully after she watches this, she'll be like, okay.
She's like, I'll go on. I guarantee you, because we've been we've been on for 2 hours.
I know.
Go downstairs. She's gonna choke me out.
I told you, it's like when you get two people who love to talk and just it doesn't happen. And like I said, I'm not editing shit. Like this is gonna, it is what it is, babies. Okay,
well,
so you know, watch it in spurts, break it up, come back to it, do what you got to do, whatever.
Do it like Dune and Dune 2, split it in half and lead. Man.
I make no apologies.
Hell, I love it. No, I'm grateful to you because you're one of the first people. When I heard you were doing this, I was like, no better way to reemerge back into the creative environment that I left for
just dive right in
7 years. Than to go right back to the person that helped kind of start it.
Hurl myself into the fire is what I do best.
Or as everyone on Substack says, you're shouting in the fucking void, and eventually the void will slap back.
Eventually, someone will smell it.
Someone's here because you're shit.
That's a familiar scent. I can relate to it.
Oh. Well, it's been awesome. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you for watching and hanging with us. And I will see you very soon. Good night, everybody. Meow, meow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Mystic Meals Podcast. The Mystic Meals Podcast with your host and producer, Chef Nikki Meow. Kick-ass music by 3 Parts Acid. Follow 3 Parts Acid at 3 Parts Acid on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. The amazing artwork by Art by Bruce 13. Follow Art by Bruce 13 on Instagram. And I'm your voice with the most. I'm Jason Neer. This has been the Mystic Meals Podcast. The Mystic Meals Podcast, copyright 2026. See you next time, kids.